evening, and thank you for joining us on Thanksgiving Eve for our show tonight, Lessons of Vietnam. We tried to tell the real story of the Vietnam War. We have a special guest tonight. We're going to be talking about our special guest in just a minute. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. We're telling the story of the Vietnam War and the men and women who served. We're trying to get rid of some of those myths and half-truths and misunderstandings and so forth. I'm your host, Bill Dixon, Vietnam veteran, 67 and 68, there for TET. We are broadcasting courtesy of Nissan Communications Worldwide Headquarters located in Raleigh. If you need to get in touch with me with a suggestion or comment and so forth after the show, it's DixonBill80@yahoo.com. But we also invite you to participate during the live show. Dial in on your phone at 919-518-9773. Or even better, if you're on Skype, come into Computers 2K Voice and make your comments, ask our guests questions or whatever. We're looking forward to our guest. We're going to be talking a little bit about how we can help veterans with like this Veterans Crisis Line. Right now with Thanksgiving coming up and COVID and so forth, it's a tough time for a lot of veterans out there. If you're a veteran or you know a veteran that's having difficulty now, please, the Veterans Crisis Line, there's someone there waiting to talk to you. 1-800-273-8255. Press 1. It's important that you press 1. Okay, we're going to get started in the show tonight. Our guest is Dr. Terry Morris of Vets to Vets United. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her as we go on the show. All right, what we're going to be talking about is service animals. Now, exactly what is a service animal? Well, as you can see in the picture there, it's a lot of different things. I'm not certain that pig looks more like a panda bear to me, but anyway, let's go ahead and go to the next one and see. Let's talk about service animals real quick. Animals have long been part of programs to help people. The early Greeks gave horseback rides to raise the spirits of persons who were incurably ill. From the 17th century, the medical literature contains occasional references to horseback riding as beneficial for gout. Well, I wish I'd known that one a long time ago. Neurological disorders and low morale. In her 1859 Notes on Nursing, Florence Nightingale wrote, "A small pet animal is often an excellent companion for the sick, for long chronic diseases especially." So we've come a long way since the 17th century in 1859. In the 1940s at the Pauling, New York Convalescent Hospital, the Army Red Cross and the Army Air Corps set a program up for recuperating veterans, which involved association with a wide variety of animals in a farm situation. But it wasn't until the publication of Boris Levinson's Pet-Oriented Child Psychology in 1969, just that 1969, that anyone made a serious plea for careful investigation of the healing power of association with animals, based on extensive records of his experience in his own practice. It's hard to believe it took, after all that, took 1969. This is some pictures of veterans with their service dogs. Dr. Morris has helped place the dogs and so forth and train them. And we're going to talk about most of these people before the night's over with. Okay, let's see what we got else. There we are. This is Dr. Terry Morris. She received an MS in biological at Purdue University and her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine at Tuskegee University. She completed her internship and residency in large animal medicine and surgery at the University of Missouri Columbia. Because of her desire to integrate her veterinarian skills with her love for science, Dr. Morris returned to school to complete her PhD in molecular microbiology. I can't hardly even say it, let alone get past the course, and immunology at the University of Missouri Columbia. Dr. Morris, the founder of Vets to Vets United, is extremely passionate about the welfare of veterans suffering from emotional and or physical disabilities, and the animals that are suffering and euthanized at animal shelters due to overpopulation. She dedicated the Best of Vets United Incorporated program to her father, who died during the tour of duty as a chaplain in the United States Air Force, and her sister, who serves as a not chaplain, I can't even read my own writing here. Her sister, who served as captain in the U.S. Air Force. Her father and sisters are both graduates from Tuskegee University Air Force Pilot Training Program. Her sister was the first female to graduate from the Air Force ROTC Pilot Training Program at Tuskegee University. Dr. Morris recognizes the healing power of the animal-human bond. She is thankful to God and is honored to have this opportunity to serve our U.S. military veterans and animals, both of which need love, companionship, and healing. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Vets United real quick. Dr. Morris gave up her practice, and she has put everything of herself into this Vets United. She's helping a lot of veterans. That's information, how to reach out to her, the telephone numbers, and the websites. But Vets United, what we do is we rescue dogs and use those rescue dogs to rescue veterans. And so I'm going to turn it over to her in just a minute and let her tell you all about it. But Terry, Dr. Morris, I'm going to let you go ahead and start with your slides in there and kind of give us a welcome of what's going on and so forth. She is the executive director of Vets United. She started the group, put everything together. Now she has a board. She can't even vote, but which is kind of strange. But she is the executive director, and she is a trainer. She is everything that makes this organization work. And I'm going to let her tell you all about it. Dr. Morris.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to thank you for hosting this show and also inviting me on here to talk about service animals and the benefits for veterans. It's such a blessing, and I want to thank all of you for your sacrifice and service. For me and all of us in this country, you sacrifice so much. And this is just one way that I felt. I mean, I asked God to please give me some way that I can give back to make sure that I am doing something all in my power that I can give back for the sacrifice and service that you all have made, along with several of my family members. So thank you very much. And I'd like to go ahead and talk about the benefits of service dogs for veterans, and also then just tell you a little bit about our program and how it works. So you can
Going
see
the wrong
here that,
direction.
yeah, so you can see all of our information right here. If you need to get in contact with us, there's our contact information right there for you. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. What is the difference between, a lot of people have this question, what's the difference between a service dog, a therapy dog, and an emotional support for a companion animal? And let's start off with service dogs. First of all service dogs must fit seamlessly into the veteran's life, okay? The dog should enhance the veteran's life by assisting them to live a more independent life, and they should not stress the person out at all. They shouldn't be a burden. There are various types of service dogs, all different types of service dogs. Each is specifically trained for a particular person or a particular ailment. And in our program, we actually train the dog to mitigate at least 3 disabilities for the veteran. All of these dogs must pass a public access test, and they have to perform specific tasks to mitigate the disability for the handler. And the service dogs and the handlers have public access rights as defined by ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act. All right, so let's talk about therapy dogs. What's the difference between a service dog and a therapy dog? Therapy dogs are also working dogs, like service dogs. However, they are not a type of service dog. These dogs are tested for both obedience and temperament. And then once they pass a therapy dog test with their partner, then they can be registered as a therapy dog through a therapy dog organization. And there are few therapy dog organizations that you can actually evaluate with and get your dog tested through, or you as a team get tested through to become a therapy dog team. And these dogs, the therapy dogs, also have been specifically trained to provide emotional assistance to people like in hospitals, nursing homes, other institutions. However, they do not have the same public access right as service dogs as defined by the ADA. Okay, so what is an emotional support or a companion animal? This animal provides therapeutic benefits, such as alleviating some symptoms of an individual's mental or psychiatric disability. They can include other animals that are typically dogs and cats. However, emotional support animals could be different types of species of animals. According to the American Disabilities Act, only dogs are considered service dogs. So, an emotional support or therapy animal can be different species of animals also. Um, in North Carolina, an emotional support or companion animal does not have to have any specific training at all. However, if you go through our program, we will make sure that your animal does have the appropriate training to graduate from our emotional support program. Again, these animals don't have public access rights. The only service dogs have public access rights. Emotional support animals do not. They do have rights. For example, if you need to board an airplane and you have a letter from your doctor, you can board an airplane with your emotional support animal. If you live in a place that prohibits pets, these are not pets. These are emotional support animals, and they can't charge you a pet fee for these animals, nor can they charge you for a service dog. They can't charge you a pet fee. Now, for a therapy animal, they can. So it's really, really important to understand the difference between the types of working animals and what your rights are with those animals. Okay, now we've heard of psychiatric service dogs. Okay, what's the difference between them and an emotional support animal? Well, psychiatric service dogs, again, they must be individually trained to perform tasks that the owner cannot perform because of their disability as defined by the ADA. And that's not the same for emotional support animals. You don't even have to train them really, though we do in our program. And that also might vary by state. So there are state statutes that also can define what type of training an emotional support animal must have. So it's always important to check state statutes. So what kind of services do these service animals provide? You can see here a whole bunch of them. This is not even a complete list of all the things a service animal can do to help veterans. For example, turning on and off lights, waking a handler from a nightmare, um, reminding the handler to take medication, call for help, 911, push a button and call 911. Go get help. If you fall, we can teach these animals how to go get someone else to come and bring back to you to help you. Reducing hypervigilance in public settings. Create a buffer zone between the handler and other people that might be approaching you. Some people can't stand to be in crowds. We can teach these dogs to put a buffer between you and other people that might be approaching. Retrieve dropped items like crutches, keys, canes, whatever you drop frequently. We can train them to pick those up. And also retrieving an emergency kit. If, for example, you might have anxiety or panic and you need your medication, but you just can't move to go get it, we can train the dog to go get that bag for you, that emergency kit, so you can take your medication. Balance and stability. If you have issues with falling, or if you have fallen and you need to get up off the floor, we can train these animals to assist you in that manner also. Removal of clothing, opening and closing doors, pushing a handicap button or a button on the elevator to help to open the door, or even search a home. If you need your dog to go in and search, make sure everything's good, come back to you and say everything's good. Before you go into a home, these are some of the things that we can teach these dogs to do. Okay, some other different ways that dogs can help a veteran turn their life around. How about getting outside, getting active? Dogs can help you get outside and get active and meet new people. A lot of times, we don't want to get out of the house. We are in the house. We may be in the house for months or even years and not make contact with other people. But if you have depression or anxiety, these animals, they have to go out. You have to give them exercise, or else then they themselves are not going to be emotionally stable. So you have to get out of the house. And when you get out of the house, the focus is not on you anymore. It's on the dog. And next thing you know, you're talking, socializing with people, even making new friends. So that's a wonderful way that these animals can help you. Rebuilding trust. So dog ownership helps those living with post-traumatic stress to be able to trust people again. I mean, you have to trust the dog has to trust you, and it helps you to be able to trust people in return. Giving just love, that unconditional love that they bring out feelings of affection, and they love us unconditionally. And so a lot of times we have issues with trying to love, and these dogs actually help us help those feelings to come back to the surface so that we can love others unconditionally. I learned a lot so much about unconditional love from them. Transition to civilian life. Dogs can be trained and take orders, which is really especially helpful for veterans who are used to giving orders. So we give the orders in a loving way. But a lot of times when you try to transition back to civilian life, you're giving orders, and it just may not be appropriate to give orders, depending on the situation. However, if you have a dog, you give orders, and the dog obeys those orders, and it's in a loving way. However, and this helps you also transition back with family and friends, so that where it may not be appropriate to like try to order someone around, but you have your dog, so that's very helpful. Feeling protected. So dogs make you feel safe and protected. If you're having nightmares or traumatic flashbacks, anxiety and depression, dogs can make you feel protected. A lot of veterans say that, this is the first time I really got a chance to get a good night's sleep, because you just have a magic, or not a magic, but you have an alert system that's there. So if anything is happening in the house, you already have that system there for mitigating hypervigilance, which is the last one. You have that alert system right there, and they're going to let you know if something is happening around you, that you can just watch them and see what they're doing to help you to combat that hypervigilance. Okay, see, these are some of the measurable. These are scientifically been measured. These are health benefits that having a service animal can have for you. They have measured cholesterol. They see that goes down, blood pressure goes down, triglycerides goes down, reduces your stress level, better mental health, increased activity, more opportunities for exercise and time outdoors, and more opportunities for socialization. And that's really important, because no one wants to be alone. So when you can meet people, make new friends, even reconnect with loved ones who have been estranged, this is a wonderful thing. And these dogs help us to do all these things. These are some expected health outcomes: reduced medical visits and costs due to the emotional, physical disabilities that we're suffering from. Um, and we have actually seen this with the survey that we give out each year, that yes, there are reduction in medical costs, and the number of visits that a person may have to go to visit a therapist, or any other condition due to having these animals. Reduce the rate of violence and suicide by reducing the stress and providing unconditional love and companionship. Improvement in health measurements, which we went through on the last slide, with triglycerides, cholesterol, blood pressure. Improving your health conditions like diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, arthritis. Again, you have to get out. You have to exercise these dogs. If these animals are going to help you, you have to also satisfy their physical and emotional requirements in order to be a stable service for you. So they can also help you in turn with your physical condition. Lessen the chance of cardiovascular disease. Again, this is all about exercise. Studies have shown that people who actually do have cardiovascular disease live longer if they have a dog in their life than those who have cardiovascular disease and don't have a dog. So again, all these are health benefits that we have seen. Significantly reduce the number of animals in our shelters. This is a biggie for us here in North Carolina because when we first started this program, we actually were #1 in euthanasia or killing of animals at our shelters. Now I think we're #5, but still we have one of the highest rates for euthanasia of animals. So we are rescuing these animals. These are perfectly healthy, happy animals that we rescue and partner them with veterans.
Okay, we were talking about the animal requires you to get out. They still work, even a person in a wheelchair or whatever.
Yes.
They can still have a service animal, I understand, but it still gives them a chance to get out also. Is that correct? Or?
That is certainly right, Bill. It gives you the opportunity. You actually have to get out. So even if you are confined to a wheelchair, you can still get out. We can actually teach these animals to pull a wheelchair. There are also some special cycles out there now where you can attach your dog to one side or the other. You know, you have 2 dogs, attach it on one side. If you have 2 dogs, attach it on one or both sides, and you can actually get exercise the dog and the person at the same time. So we haven't actually tried that in our charity, but that is an option and it's out there, and I've been wanting to explore that for quite a long time. Okay, so here's some evidence that shows that yeah, service dogs do help veterans. So there have been some clinical trials going on with the Department of Veteran Affairs, 2011 to 2017. They had 220 people in that study. It failed. Then they had another one in 2013, 2015, had 48 in that study, also failed. And then one started in 2014 to 2020. I have to go back and check and see what the results are. They were pending, but I need to find out what those results are to see whether or not that study was successful in determining whether or not the VA was going to pay for and support veterans who have post-traumatic stress disorder and service dogs. Right now, they would support you if you have a visual impairment or if you have a prosthetic or mobility impairment. However, if you have post-traumatic stress disorder without those other 2 conditions, they are not actively supporting all veterans who need those dogs. Um, there are other studies that have preliminary findings, small study that show that veterans show fewer symptoms of post-traumatic stress, less depression, better interpersonal relationships, and lower levels of substance abuse. And then also, they've also other studies in Bethesda, Maryland, have shown that they're looking at oxytocin levels, and these are levels of feel-good hormones that make you feel good, and they're showing that they actually increase along with other feel-good hormones. They're looking at physiological responses such as heart rate, stress markers, and showing that heart rate and stress markers go down when you have these animals, when you're interacting with them. And they're looking at psychiatric changes of the participants in the study. Okay, now I just want to talk about our charity a little bit and what we're all about and our identity. So what we're doing is, Bill, did you want to say something?
Well, this show is basically the lessons of Vietnam. And the reason I asked Terry to come on, we have found that as Vietnam veterans, a lot of us are now retired, and we have time on our hands we didn't have before because we're having families and so forth. So there's a lot of Vietnam vets now who have not had problems with depression or post-traumatic stress who are having problems. And right now, the suicide rate for Vietnam veterans is creeping up, to say. So this is why I wanted to have Dr. Morris on today, because not only are the younger veterans having problems, but those of us who are a little more mature, I will say, are finding a great deal of need for a dog. There's a lot of different programs out there. We're talking specifically about one super program that I happen to be very aware of. Tank, come here. Come here. I want to show you why. Sit down. Come sit. This is my boy Tank, and I don't know how I got away. I don't know how I got along without him. Means everything to me. He's a good boy, and he looks after me, and has made a big difference in my life. And that's because of Vets to Vets United, all the volunteers and everything that works with them. And we're going to be getting into more about Vets to Vets. But there are wherever you are in the country, there are programs out there. I think one of the interesting things about Vets to Vets United, we rescue dogs. The reason I say we, because I am a part of the organization now. We rescue dogs and use those rescue dogs that would be euthanized otherwise, and we rescue veterans. Now, the reason I say that, because you don't just get a dog. So here's your dog, take it. We train as veterans, we train with the dogs. I tell people that Tank is training me because he's been through the program before. And that's important. We train along with it. There are organizations out there who charge a lot of money, but they will train a dog and then put it with a veteran. Now the veteran has got to build that relationship with the dog that Vets to Vets United gives that relationship with the dog, because every dog and every veteran does not necessarily work together. So you just put a dog with a veteran is not necessarily the question. But if you are in Spokane, Washington, or whatever, go online and see what's available out there. Unfortunately, Vets to Vets United can't help you out there, but there are some organizations that will train the dogs. I've read some of the dogs want anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 for a trained dog. Nice thing about Vets to Vets United, when there's money available, the veteran can be involved and not have any money. He can't say, he or she, the veteran, can't say, I can't afford it, because if Vets to Vets United has money, the veterinarian bills, the doctor bills, all the harnesses, every toys, food, everything is taken care of by Vets to Vets. So that is one of the unique parts of the program that Terry Morris has been very adamant and keep going. And it's an important part, because the veteran and the dog, there's no excuse for the dog not getting proper care because the veteran can't afford it and so forth. So Terry, I'm going to let you go back to talk about your baby, Vets to Vets United, and the things that they're doing, and whatever else you want to tell them. I just important that we overall, the dogs are so important to the veteran community. The Veterans Administration has decided, what I read was that they have decided that dogs are valuable. And if you're a group that trains dogs and you got enough money, you can get on the VA's list to furnish animals and so forth. But with Vets to Vets, we're local here, train dogs and the veterans, as I said. So, Dr. Morris, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much for that information.
Go ahead. We got it. Okay, there you go.
Okay. All right. So, our vision, our vision is to improve lives, save lives, one veteran and one dog at a time. And our mission is to pair veterans with disabilities and rescue dogs for an enhanced quality of life. And we're unique because we are rescuing dogs, and we are serving veterans with veterinary services that are provided by our veterinary partners. So we have veterinarians in our area that actually agreed to take care of any costs that's associated with the dog for the life of the animal. So when the veteran brings that dog into the clinic, they don't have to worry about paying any fees at all for the life of the animal. And that is very, very special. And I cannot thank my veterinary colleagues enough for their kindness and generosity to provide that service. So our goal, so we know that military service affects numerous veterans and their families. And this takes a huge toll physically and emotionally and financially. And so Vets to Vets has the potential to, in conjunction with the VA and other veteran outreach services, to significantly improve the mental, emotional, and physical well-being of the veteran. Okay, in addition, the program has the potential to help veterans make a more seamless transition back into society and have a greater chance to live independently and with dignity. Okay, so we are part of the solution, and I say part of it because having a dog is not going to fix everything. And it's really important to understand that. There are other services out there that must be combined in with a service dog program to try to put the different pieces together to make as whole as possible what we're trying to do, which is to restore the veteran back to as much normality as possible. But just having a service dog is not the total solution. So the veteran must be ready to make this commitment emotionally to be able to handle the service dog training program. Because again, these dogs are not trained. They come buck wild right out of the shelter. And so we train you to train your dog from scratch. All right, so what happens is that the veteran applies. So you get an application, you get an interview, we try to find a dog for you. And then after we partner you with that dog does go through a temperament test. And we do also go through a trial period to make sure that the personality of the person and the dog is matching up and everybody's getting along together. After that, then the veteran and the dog will immediately start training, even during that trial period. They'll start training every single week. Once a week, they must come to training. It's a huge commitment. The training can last up to 2 years. Now, we do have some teams that have graduated prior to 2 years, but on average, it takes about 2 years, and that's a huge commitment to make. If you get a dog from an organization that trains the dog for you already, those dogs have been in training for at least 2 years before their partner. But we're teaching you from scratch. All the teams have to pass a public access test. Once you pass that test, then you'll get your vest that says you earn your vest. It says service dog in training. And then you also must pass your therapy evaluation. And the reason we take them through therapy, number one, first of all, in order to pass the service dog requirements, you have to go through therapy requirements anyway. And then second of all, is that it's our way to give back to the community. So once we get through therapy evaluation, we're giving back to the community. We're taking these dogs out. We're visiting other veterans at the VA, in CLC and hospice. We're taking them to go visit seniors at senior center. We're taking them to visit people who have intellectual disabilities, UNC hospitals. So we are giving back to the community. And I tell you, there's nothing better than walking into a room and you can see people who are not smiling. They're not, we have people who don't even get visitors sometimes. And you walk in there, you make that person's day. I mean, you can make their whole day just from being there for 20, 30 minutes. And they see you with this animal. You're brightening their day and making them feel good. And deep down inside, it makes you feel good too, because you know you're doing something great for somebody else in need. All right, so after the therapy evaluation, then we have to go through the service dog requirements, and that dog has to show that it can mitigate your disability. And we have 3 tasks that we train minimally. So that dog has to show it can perform at least 3 tasks to mitigate the disability. And then the last thing is so important is that the graduating teams who want to come back and serve as mentors for other veterans. So share the blessings that you have received with others who need to have the same thing that you have. Does it make a difference? To date, we have graduated 25 veteran dog teams. We have 12 teams in training right at this moment. And we'd like to just show you a video about one of our graduates and how it has affected his life.
We were 2 peas in a pod, and we both joined the Marine Corps because we were like, you know what, let's get away from here. And we went in on the buddy program, and we went to MCRD San Diego and was part of Gulf Company. And from there, we graduated on President's Day 2008. And then we went to School of Infantry. And from there, we both got stationed with 3rd Marines out in Okinawa. On February 19th, 2010, I got news that my best friend had stepped on an IED and was not coming home. I ended up having to go to Brazil, Indiana, and escort his casket. And that was probably the worst day of my life. I went to Okinawa, and me and my best friend went out there, and when he went to Afghanistan, I was coming back off of what we call a MEU. Coming back from Australia, I call it a boat cruise. It was fun. That was my first taste of realizing what's about to happen in people's lives. My name's Nick Saunders. As far as back as I can remember, my grandpa served in World War II. My dad served in Vietnam. My sister did Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and I've obviously done Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. I've witnessed a couple people commit suicide. The first one that I saw was 2008, when my whole world literally fell upside down. I was sitting outside at the barracks having a smoke break with my buddies, and this kid was up on 3rd deck, and he looks out and he goes, "I'm gonna do it." And we all just looked up like, okay, yeah, whatever. And when he jumped out the window, he hung himself. And from that day on, my life was just like, wow, I stopped caring. With witnessing suicides, I see shadows. They come up, they've talked to me, they've touched me, they've blamed me. I relive those every night in my dreams, watching people, don't even know them, just commit suicide. When I see them, I don't know what they want, and it freaks me out. There's a couple of times that I've sat in the corner and cried, just wanting them to go away. There's been nights where I would just be laying on the couch or in bed with somebody, and I'd see a shadow, and I'd reach over, punch them in the chest. There's been times where I've woke up and I've had my AR-15 pointed at them because I thought they were a shadow. I'd been going to the VA for 3 years on and off whenever I had appointments, and they'd classified me PTSD. Out of the raw score, you can get a total of 85. I scored a 78. I didn't get therapy or any kind of medication until this past year. Thought I could deal with it myself, but due to a couple events, I had to go into the VA, and I decided to finally get help after 4 years. I was coming back from Wilmington and don't know what happened, but I walked into the VA with a loaded weapon. I looked at them and said, either you get me help or I'll shoot myself. They asked me, do you live alone? Do you have anybody? I'm like, I live alone. My parents live in California now. Like, why don't you get a service dog? I was like, I don't qualify. I don't have the money for it. They're like, but for service members, it's free. So from there, I had to fill out the paperwork, and the doctor who was training service dogs, Dr. Terry Morris, she evaluated it, looked at it, and said, we got a perfect fit for you.
He and I talked, and I also felt like it would be great to try to partner him. And I actually felt like after we talked, I had the perfect partner for him, and that turned out to be wonderful.
I got Winston from Vets to Vets United Incorporated up in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Vets to Vets is a nonprofit whose mission is to rescue, train, and partner animals with veterans who are suffering from loneliness, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, and physical disabilities. I started Vets to Vets because I saw that there was a need here in North Carolina, and with the need so great, I decided to begin this organization. I would really like to spend the rest of my life doing something that I was really passionate about. And of course, animals, since I'm a veterinarian, I love animals. North Carolina has the highest kill rate or euthanasia rate of animals in the whole country. So if I could do something to help with that problem, that would be great. My other passion is helping people. I love helping people and just seeing them smile. First of all, the emotional healing that takes place when they're immediately placed with an animal is a huge part of the healing or success that takes place. So even if the dog is not trained yet, just having that animal in your life and having that unconditional love coming to you immediately makes a huge difference in the emotional well-being of the veteran.
At first, I didn't know how it was going to be. I was kind of skeptical until about Thanksgiving when I had Winston, and holidays are the hardest time for me, and it actually worked. When I get anxious, he'll jump on my lap and bring me back to reality. When I have nightmares a couple times a night, he'll push me in the back and wake me up and make sure that I'm okay. Just when I'm having a bad day and stuff really gets me and I get really down, he'll just make sure that I'm put first, and he'll make sure that I'm smiling and happy at the end. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was going through a bad divorce. I honestly didn't care. It was one of those, like, my days were just wake up, do what I had to do, and go to bed. And now it's when I wake up, I got to take care of Winston. I'm happy. I actually want to go to work. I started going back to school to be a lawyer, and I'm actually doing really good in school. I'm about to graduate with a bachelor's degree, and then I'm going for 2 associates. I've been hired to a law firm as an intern since I've had my dog. So I've noticed my life has changed because I see where I have to go, and it's not a clouded judgment anymore.
Nick and Winston have an amazing relationship. They really do. It was instant bonding when they first were introduced to each other, and I could see how important it was for Nick to have Winston in his life, and also his determination. Though he has to drive 2.5 hours away, he was determined that he was going to come to class twice a week to learn how to train Winston, and he's reinforced that training at home, and you can see that from the progress that he's made.
The thing about service dogs is people think they're fully trained. That's not the case. It's what you train them is what they do for you. So if you put in minimal work, then you're not going to get any work out of the dog. And at the same time, you got to care for them as you would any other dog. But you also got to look at them that they help you. So what they go through is what you go through. And in the end, they are there to help you, and you are to help them. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, he's always there. It could be a bad day, and I could be like, Winston, go sit on one side of the couch. He'll go sit, but he'll always come back and make sure I'm okay, and that's probably the best thing right there.
It's priceless to see a veteran walk in despair and not smiling, not feeling like, this program just may not work, just very skeptical, and then come back, a month later, and the veteran is in class joking, laughing, having a great time for those 2 hours that they're in training with the dog. Nick is smiling, number one. He sends me text messages and emails and pictures of he and Winston all the time. It's just priceless, and it's really a blessing to have this opportunity, to have an opportunity like this, to help people and to save animals is two passions in one, two blessings really. And I'm just so thankful that I have this opportunity.
Honestly, with Vets to Vets, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here today. Since getting out of the Marine Corps and going through all I did, I've been at the worst point in life. And people that say, oh, you don't know what life is like, that's true, I don't know what your life is like, but you don't know what mine is. But we can both agree that in the end we do need help. And if you need help and you can get a service dog, do it, because it saved mine and it can save somebody else's.
Terry, that was one of your many success stories there. Nick is very special, but it's been a lot of those success stories out there, and you've got more coming up. I just want to invite everybody out there to. There's a group called the Dodo, if you're on Facebook, they're always posting things about animals on the dodo. If you like to look at animals and so forth, and you click on those, you'll see the dodo. Well, somehow or another, the dodo found out about Vets to Vets United, and they flew in a whole crew to North Carolina, and they filmed a whole day. They did a training session with Terry, and then they did a little bit of her story about how it was dedicated to her father who lost his life back during the missile crisis with Cuba, so forth. But they have sent several videos in, and I highly recommend you go to Vets United and like us, and also watch the videos. I think you'll enjoy it. And also, there's some guy on there that looks a lot like me, and they actually had asked me what I thought. And so me and my boy Tank, he is, well, he affects the whole family's involved with Tank. We were I'm down in Florida right now with my family, having Thanksgiving, went out on a boat today, and he thoroughly enjoyed the boat ride. So go on to Vets to Vets United and like us on Facebook and go to our webpage. But I'm going to let Terry tell you a little bit more about it now. I just want to put in my little 2.5 cents worth. Terry, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that was a great experience with the dodo, and I hope everybody will check us out on Facebook. Let's go back to our slides.
Well, right now, let's, okay, there you go.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that this, this is extremely important for the veteran, but we have to also think about the family. So we know that families also suffer. There is a documentary on CNN. It's called The Uncounted, and you can just Google that and watch that. But it also talks about family members of veterans. So we have mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers. Children of veterans are also committing suicide, and they call it the uncounted because they're not counted. No one hears about these stories for veterans, family members of veterans who are also committing suicide. So they're also casualties of war. So this program helps the whole family. You have children, mothers, fathers, spouses, anybody in the home that's suffering. And we also train for spouses because there are some spouses who have suffered trying to care for a veteran, and and they need a service dog, and so we do train for spouses also. So I just wanted to mention that. And then as Bill already graciously acknowledged, my father. This program is dedicated to him, Captain Willis C. Morris, Tuskegee pilot, B-52 bomber pilot. He died when I was 3 when his plane crashed. And then my sister, she's also a captain in the Air Force, following in my father's footsteps, and she's a Tuskegee pilot also. As a matter of fact, she's the first female to graduate from the Air Force ROTC pilot training program at Tuskegee. So I dedicated the program to both of them, and they are making sure that everything's going smoothly. So thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. And please. Our information is on our website and our Facebook page.
Well, Terry, I think one of the things you hit on just a moment ago was families. I can tell you, living with a Vietnam vet is a challenge to itself. We're always so even-tempered and so mellowed out and so forth. Yeah. I was married 3 years when I went to Vietnam, and I think my wife suffers from post-traumatic stress more than I do. But I still have it, and along with depression. But the whole family gets involved. Like I said, my boy Tank, everybody loves the Tank, and he's such a special. He's special. But the families are need the help also that he gives everybody in my family some support with his undying love. I mean, just whatever it is, you can holler at him or forget to give him some fooding or whatever, and he just forgets to and he just loves you anyway. So But one of the things that makes this work, I'm going to give you a little commercial here. One of the things that makes this all work is money. And as I said a while ago, everything is furnished for the veteran. It runs about $10,000, which is a bargain compared to these other places, to train a veteran and their dog for 2 years. And the one thing we're always trying to do is help veterans, but we also need the money to do it. Whether you're going to be a veteran who are looking for it, or you want to donate a support or volunteer, we always need a volunteer. Right now, Terry's doing the paperwork, paying the bills and so forth, and everything else, as plus training and everything else. She's a one-woman show, even though she's got a bunch of people supporting her from the background. But if you still have questions, or just reach out and contact us at any time, and look forward to hearing you. It's Vets to Vets United. Mailing address is 732 9th Street, box number 595, Durham, North Carolina, 27705. If you have some money around the house that's getting moldy and so forth, we'll be glad to like to mow off of it and use it to help a veteran and his fur baby. So there's a special time coming up pretty soon. I think it's December 1st, a thing called Giving. Is it Giving Tuesday?
Giving Tuesday, yeah.
So go in and on Facebook or whatever and get rid of some of that old folded money or whatever and help a veteran that's out there. Unfortunately, we can't reach all the veterans that we have out there. We have a waiting list, and then we have a waiting list to get on the waiting list because we just can't get to all the veterans who need it. Well, today's veterans or us more seasoned Vietnam veterans. Once in a while, I run into a Korean veteran out there, but in order to reach out and get all these veterans and get them off our waiting list or our waiting list, we need help. And like I said, if you live locally in the area and you've got some time, like I said, some money, or a veterinarian that would sponsor a team, that's one of our biggest costs is the veterinarian care, the medication, and so forth, because we want to make sure every dog gets all the supplements and everything they need. So reach out to the veterinarian and write the address or call and get the information about Vets to Vets United to the veterinarian and so forth, and see if they would be willing to sponsor a vet and a team. It's not just a dog; it's a team. The veteran and the dog become a very powerful team. Like I said, a lot of good organizations out there, but everybody says I support the veterans. Well, this is a real way to support the veterans besides making noises, riding around with bumper stickers says I support veterans. Well, this is a chance to support veterans, the real way where the real veteran needs it. Does anybody out there have a question? Amnon, you got any questions or anything that you come in while we were talking?
No, I mean this is unbelievable what Dr. Morris is doing.
Well, like I said, she gave up everything, her practice, everything else. I don't know how she has a social life because she's always in a meeting.
No, don't say it like that. She did not give up everything. She traded. She's doing something that she likes now.
You got it right. Yep, she's traded one for the other. But,
yeah.
This is actually the best thing besides giving birth to my daughter. The best thing that I mean, it's really it's an honor and a blessing for me. When I see a veteran smile, when I see them, going to a baseball game or a hockey game and just getting out, going grocery shopping, and they're smiling, they're happy. I mean, that just it brings my heart so much joy. I really can't explain, how much this really is a blessing for me, more like selfish reasons. Because when I see the veteran smile, when I see a dog being saved from euthanasia and being partnered with the veteran and they're both doing well and working well and graduate and go off and live beautiful life together. I mean, that's what it's all about. And, I cannot thank, Bill said one woman show, but actually, like you said, behind the scenes, can't do it by yourself. we have so many volunteers that are helping us. I can't thank enough the Friendly City Civitan Club. They give us space to train for free, and Zoomy Dogs. Vanessa Davis at Zoomy Dogs gives us space to train for free, and then our trainers Claire and Elaine and Linda Tilley actually houses dogs. So if a veteran has to go to the hospital and it needs a place for the dog to go, Linda Tilley at Falls Lake Kennel, she will do it for free. She'll take the dog and keep it safe and love it until the veteran can come out of hospital. So it's a partnership, with different organizations like Gay Dog and Claire and Able Dog and Elaine and Falls Lake Kennels. And again, it takes a lot to come together to make all of this work. So, and then the volunteers who are behind the scenes that are just really working extremely hard. So, and it's because they love you. They love you.
Terry, it's very special to be at the training and watch the dog and the veteran mesh together, and how they change. The dog and the veteran change so much and become not a dog and a veteran, but a team. It's amazing to see how the difference it makes in the dog and the veteran's life as they mesh into a working team. It's really a beautiful thing to see how they come together like that.
Yeah, it is. And again, Bill, that's where I say that's where I feed off of that. And that just makes me want to just, let's keep going. No matter how hard, things may get. It's like, when I see that and it's working, and and you can see people are happy and the dogs are happy, then yeah, it's just a blessing for me, really.
Now, Terry, you were saying that there are veterinarians that are actually helping and giving. Are there a whole bunch of them?
Not a whole bunch, no. So
I mean, is it a list that you can mention now? So maybe, I would love to take our dogs to somebody that does that.
Yes, exactly. Support the veterinarians who are supporting us, who are supporting They're listed on our website.
Okay.
Yep, all of them are listed, and we need more veterinarians to come on board. I mean, it's like if it were not for the sacrifices that the veterans have made, we wouldn't be able to practice veterinary medicine in a nice, safe country, free from everything. I mean, try to have a veterinary practice over in a different country like Syria or Afghanistan or a place like that. So it's because of the veterans, the sacrifice that you all have made is that we're able to live free like we do,
right?
And have these businesses that we have. So it's a good way to say thank you. I get back. I will take one dog, and I'm going to take care of that veteran, that dog for the life of that animal. It's like adopting another dog in your house, So it's really just something.
My boys is sponsored by a veterinarian at Bahama veterinarian. Those are people who are just absolutely fantastic. I was over there the other day. They said, "Oh, by the way, you need some heartworm stuff. You need this." And I left with a big bag of stuff, supplements, shots, everything. They keep up and say, "Okay, tank's ready for stuff." And it's just unbelievable how they go out of their way. It's not just go a visit, but they take care of all the supplements, medications, and everything.
And take meds, everything, all the testing. So we can't thank them enough. We can't thank our veterinary partners enough for taking the being dedicated to want to give back and say thank you. So,
and thank you for that.
Yes, and so please see a list of all of our veterinary partners on our website. And we ask people, please go and support, take your animals to these veterinarians because they are supporting veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know that you're friends of Vets to Vets.
Yes. Might get a discount. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you. This has been awesome.
Now, well, again, listen, folks out there, if you have someone that might be in need of a dog, you can watch this show again just go to www.nissan.com and go to the
Nissan
on demand and click on this
Communications,
show.
NissanCommunications.com.
Okay, what Amnon just said. Do it again.
NissanCommunications.com.
Okay, I thought that's what I said. But anyway, go to on demand and then click on Service Dogs, Dr. Terry Morris, and you can show this show to your friend who needs a dog or needs to learn more about service dogs. And by this time tomorrow, it'll be on YouTube. So, but you can go in either way. But if you not have someone out there who needs, you think a service dog would help, have them to watch the show and learn a little bit about service dogs. I think that one of the things a lot of people didn't realize that all dogs who perform a service cannot necessarily have the right to go into a restaurant, any restaurant or whatever. It's just a bona fide service dog and a therapy dog under certain circumstances. So, Terry, we appreciate you coming on and telling us your story and about service dogs and so forth. Just want to let you know that, of course, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I can't think of a better time to give thanks. Even though with the situation out there, I guess some families are going to be doing Thanksgiving done by Zoom. But whatever you have to do, if you look back, my Thanksgiving in 1967, I was in the jungles of Vietnam, and my Thanksgiving dinner was cold turkey loaf. But I did have some pound cake and saved some fruit cocktail to put together, so I had a real banquet there. The next show will be December 9th. I can't give you the subject yet because I hadn't put it together. Also coming up on December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day. I know you don't want to reach out to some of the World War II people who were at Pearl Harbor. My VFW has a gentleman who is there. December 20th, if you're located in the Triangle area, North Carolina Vietnam Veterans Incorporated will be doing a yearly candlelight service down at the Capitol at the Vietnam Memorial. It starts at 6 o'clock in the evening. That's December 20th. It's quite a moving event down there, lighting candles and so forth, and maybe even sing a song or two and call out the names. Also, December the 5th is also the monthly POW-MIA ceremony, which is held at the same place at the state capitol. It starts at 12 o'clock noon. And if you like motorcycles, that's probably a good one to go to because the Harley group out of Raleigh, they always kick off the Toys for Tots there. So there may be a whole bunch of motorcycles there of different shapes and so forth.
As in hundreds.
Pardon me?
As in hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds of motorcycles.
Hundreds, yes. I mean, hundreds of motorcycles out there of all sizes and shapes. So if you can go out there and so forth. And there might be another old grumpy guy down there with a Jeep or a 3/4 ton truck down there dressed in a flight suit, who's by the name of Amnon Nissan, who usually shows up down there for the ceremony. It's been going on for 33 years now. Never miss rain, sleet, snow, or protest. It's down there. So again, thank you, Dr. Morris, for being all you do with Vets to Vets United. And I don't know what we'd do without you, but enjoy your Thanksgiving tomorrow. And I'll be back in town Saturday. So.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your sacrifice and service. Much love to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.